welcome to Jerematics Tutoring. In this video, I will be teaching you how to rationalize denominators. In the last video I made about Trigonometry 11, finding the exact values, sine and cosine ratios, and tangents, I didn't really talk about how to rationalize denominators. Like I mentioned that you should rationalize a denominator when there's a radical denominator, but I didn't actually show you how to do that. And to rationalize a denominator, what you literally do is you look at the denominator with the radical and you multiply the denominator and the numerator by the denominator to eliminate the radical. And the reason that this works is because remember that a number multiplied by itself is squared. And if you're square rooting something squared, the radical gets eliminated, and so does a square, and you're left with just the number itself. So in this example, we got 5 divided by square root 3. How do we simplify that? Well, we multiply the denominator and the numerator by square root 3. And the important thing to remember is that we do not only multiply the denominator by the radical because it needs to stay equivalent. We need to keep this fraction equivalent while simplifying it. Watch. Square root 3 times square root 3 is equal to 5 root 3 all over the square root of 3 squared. Because remember, when you're multiplying when you're multiplying two radicals with the same index, you multiply both numbers inside the radical. And this gives you 5 square root 3 divided by the square root of 3 squared. And if you simplify this, you get 5 square root 3 divided by 3. So you get 5 square root 3 divided by 3 is your answer. And as you can see, the radical's gone. Because in mathematics, we don't like having a radical in the denominator. We only want radicals in the numerator. So whenever possible, you eliminate the radical by rationalizing your denominator. And this is the first example I gave you. So as you can see, it's pretty easy to do so. I'm going to give you a few more examples, and that will wrap up this very short video on rationalizing denominators. The most important thing to remember in all of this is two things. One, when you rationalize your denominator, you multiply both the denominator and the numerator by your denominator, so your fraction can stay equivalent. Because I'll show you an example with a radical so you can see what I mean. 1/2. If you want to double this but keep it equivalent, how do you do that? Well, you multiply both the top and the bottom by 2. So 1 times 2 divided by 2 times 2 is equal to 2 divided by 4. And as you can see, 2 divided by 4 is still 1/2. What we did is we just multiplied the top and the bottom by 2 to make it look bigger, but really it's equivalent to the same thing. So whenever you multiply something in denominator, you got to do the same thing to the numerator so it stays equivalent. Another example I will give you will be 4 divided by the square root of x. 4 divided by the square root of x. Well, what do we do with this? This looks pretty scary, I know. And maybe you're about to have a panic attack. But just please do remember that I only sell books on Amazon. I do not sell paperbacks. So paperback's something you need. You don't buy that from me. So 4 divided by square root of x. What do we do with this? What we do is you multiply the denominator and the numerator by square root of x. 4 divided by square root of x times square root of x times square root of x. Because we multiply both the numerator and the denominator by square root of x. And remember, when you're multiplying two identical radicals, then your radical gets eliminated and you're left with just what's inside the radicand. So you get left with 4 square root x all over x. I'm going to give you one more example and that'll wrap up this video. So let's go with 7. Let's go with x divided by the square root of 7. We multiply both the denominator and the numerator by square root of 7. So multiplied by square root 7 all over square root 7. And as you can see, it stays equivalent if you think about it, because square root 7 divided by square root 7 is 1, because anything divided by itself is 1. So really, as you can see over here, it stays equivalent. Really, because we're not actually changing our fraction, we're simplifying it. But we're not actually changing the fraction. The fraction still has the same value. We're just making it nicer to look at. X square root 7 all over 7. And as you can see, two identical radicals multiplied by each other results in what's inside the radicand itself. So we get left with x squared root 7 divided by 7 as a result. So that's how you simplify radicals, you rationalize them. And I hope this video helped you. And if ever you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below and I will respond to them. And if you like my content and like to stay up to date, then feel free to subscribe.